I got this thing. So this might look a little bit messy, just to give you a warning. Alright, so area. So we're just going our game training in the attacking half. Okay, so there it is. We'll put sides. Okay, so let's get some opposition in here. Do we want numbers or is X's okay?
That's okay. That's okay.
So we
I'm
wanted
getting nausea watching this.
we wanted to keep the 2 banks of 4. We talked about potentially going down to 3s and things like that, but we just felt we'd lose some realism and we actually lose the football problem if we change that.
Stop there. Great discussion. Any comments on that? Wanted to keep the 2 banks of 4 because they felt that if we had less, if we did this, got rid of them, it would have lost some realism. Any comments? Anyone else?
I thought game training was to let them play as realistic as possible.
Yep.
And then once that problem arises, then you go with the problem.
Perfect. So the question was, did anyone have, let's say, replicate the 2 banks of 4 another way? With 3, with 2, with 1?
So it was just numerical superiority. So it was 4v3 or 5v3, and try to encourage. Once you see it, then go for it.
I'm not sure the message you're trying to get across, but all I'm saying is they've had a discussion where they thought game training maybe we can replicate it with 3, and I'm assuming then you would have made the pitch smaller and got rid of some players on your team and their team. But they decided 2 banks of 4. Anyone go with something defensive shape, defensive team different? So what was the shape of your defensive?
The way you taught it, set it up high and wide.
No, not the. What was the formation of your defensive shape?
Using the goalkeeper.
This is a 1-4-4. What was yours?
4-4-3. 4.
Of the defensive team.
On the defensive team. So
Yep.
we're not coaching defensive teams.
No, but in the game training, they've got to be there.
It was,
See,
so you have keep replay.
you got rid of one of these players.
Yeah. No, you went in the middle, yes. The back 4 was there.
So your defensive team had a 1-4-3. That was your defensive team.
Against the attacking, yeah.
All I'm trying is, why did you drop one defensive player out of that? What was the discussion?
Well, we're trying to get a numerical superiority to at least.
Okay. You tried to get a numerical superiority for what purpose?
To actually, you won't get to the solution.
Okay, there we go. So, perfect. This is a good discussion. Sorry, okay.
That's fine.
So what we said is, as a coach, we decided to say, we're going to drop a player there out of this team so that it's easier for me as a coach and my team to achieve the session objective. Comments from the floor.
Just part of realism. I mean, I would agree. I mean, and
Agree with what?
with having the 4-3 and making.
All I say is why.
taking the
Comments,
constraints
why?
away.
Why? No, you've come up with it. Beautiful.
So the session works.
Yep.
I think the players can understand.
It's the training game that's meant to come out to be more like 11v11, whereas this, we're wanting to replicate the object, the problem. And if we want the objective to be achieved, regularly if we can.
I suppose what the problem was that we couldn't penetrate against an organised opponent. So it doesn't matter how many players you've got in there, as long as those players are organised in a way. But because I was part of the James's group, we felt that because our problem was this, what we saw in a game was 4v4, or sorry, 2 banks of 4. That it was the best way to replicate that was to have 2 banks.
Have it rip. Here's a question. So what was your point, Ron?
So the session works.
Work. Okay. I've got an idea. I really want my session to work. make it work even better. I'll do it, actually, I'll stuff that. I want to be the even better.
Well, you've got a 3v4.
Will the session work?
It would be.
But why? What do you mean it won't work? It should work. I'll get behind the opposition defence. I'll switch the ball every time.
It's all right to play against 3 on Saturday, isn't it?
It's not realistic.
Ooh, now you're talking about something different. So maybe we're preparing. I'm Australia. I'm Japan. And I'm trying to teach Japanese players to get in behind two deep defensive blocks of 4 for this week's World Cup qualifier. And I do this. What's fundamentally, what am I going to say there, in terms of a coach to his players, what could I be missing the point? Where could I be missing the point here? What could I be...
There's going to be another player, and that's going to affect
Out of reality.
how it plays out on the field.
Right? So at the end of the day, is what you're proposing and what you're proposing just there to make you happy and fluffy? Or is it actually related to the problem? Let's go through to the 5 Ws. When does the problem occur, James? You said it. When did the problem occur in your 5 Ws?
When opponent was too compact with the 4 and 4 defending.
So when it was too compact with 4 and 4. So in my game training, if I'm trying to recreate the problem, can the problem be recreated with a 1, 4, 3?
Close, but not.
A more concentrated area. Can't you progress that, Ivan? Start that training game with that 4-3, and then there's a progression, like get the players...
So what's that other player doing whilst he's not involved?
Sit-ups.
Oh, you can be that player. And how would you feel? Rightio, you just wait there, not ready for you, mate. We've got to progress. Your team may never progress from that. What happens to him? Thanks for the training session, brother. Right, so we've got to use all our players. So the thing I say is, if you're going to replicate the problem, and in your 5 Ws, it clearly says the problem happens when the 2 banks of 4 shift across and are compact. Great discussion. I question the validity of this because at the end of the day, when I go there and come all the way across here, there's a situation that will not present itself in the World Cup qualifier this week because he's there. But you're teaching this player to solve that problem. But that problem's not there on the World Cup qualifier. This is the problem. Is the solution the same? You know, and that's what you've got to weigh up.
Yeah.
What I tell the player in there with my player actions and coach cues, is it the same as what I would tell the player if he was there? And if the answer's no, are you going to achieve your session objective? And are you going to improve your team's performance on Saturday? Right? So my only comment to that is, if the problem was the 2 banks of 4 and it was in your 5 Ws and you don't replicate the 2 banks of 4, I'd say you're not going to get the teaching and learning outcomes that you want as a coach. Right? That's a good discussion. So move on.
Yeah,